Let's talk about 2023. There's been no better year to be a gamer than this one. From January to December, the industry produced some of the best games we've ever seen at every level of development. Indie, AA, AAA, you name it. But also has somehow brought about a disgusting amount of layoffs from a lot of publishers, which definitely sucks. Despite that, if you have a favorite game or genre, chances are 2023 has a game for you, which makes picking the top 11 games of the year a damn near impossible task. That's right, the title is clickbait. We regret nothing. No more wasting time. I am John Nobody, you are the audience, and you know who we are. The following are the 11 best games of the year as chosen by the Nobodies of Gaming, all of which will be in no particular order except for the top 5. This is gonna be a chunky video, so strap in and enjoy. Spoilers for all of these games. You've been warned. We begin with a very strong entry to get the juices flowing. Armored Core 6 Fires of Rubicon is a mech-based action shooter from the developers of Elden Ring and the Dark Souls series from Soft Studios. Some of you OG mecha game lovers remember the old Armored Core series from way back in 2012 in the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 era, and this latest entry brings back all the goodies. Highly customizable mechs, battlegrounds filled to the brim with enemies, sharp responsive controls, and lots of goddamn weapons. You throw some Dark Souls inspired boss battles with a cryptic storyline and a female companion voice in your head, and you got yourself a top tier mecha shooter.
Let's go, Raven. This is where the survey begins in earnest.
Yes! Sam!
Go strap on some Gatling guns to your mech and grind your enemies into scrap. Or, if you prefer something a little more up close and personal, just kick the bastards. Next game. Dead Island 2 is a semi-open world zombie game from the developers at Deep Silver, Dam Buster Studios. The expectations were low as this game had been killed and resurrected as much as the zombies you smash running around LA. 8 years of development hell, and now Dead Island 2 is alive and ready to dismember the undead. Just like its 2013 distant ancestor, Dead Island 2 throws you in the role of wisecracking, uniquely violent protagonists that happen to be immune to the zombie virus. Defying all of our expectations, this game slaps. The comedy, the dismemberment, the ridiculous plot all mesh so well that this was easily one of the most fun action games of the year.
Hey! Quit following me, okay? I taste like ass!
When picking up your weapons, go with the brass knuckles. We call it the Star Platinum Special. You'll thank us later. Next game.
Confirming visual contact with USG Ishimura.
The legendary sci-fi survival horror game returns courtesy of EA Motive, and it's come with more than just a new coat of paint. In short, Dead Space Remake is the greatest haunted house in the history of video games, full stop. The game follows a small crew that responds to an SOS on the planet Cracker Ishimura. You're placed in the shoes of one Isaac Clarke, who's joined this mission to find his lost girlfriend Nicole. The developers made some amazing improvements to a game that already holds up pretty well, and added some new elements that absolutely surprise any Dead Space veteran.
In impossible difficulty, you only get 3 saves. Hey! Oh! Hey! I cut you! I cut your arm! You dead?
There's something behind you?
Dead!
The Necromorphs are, in my opinion, the most dangerous sci-fi monster in space, and will keep any survival horror lover on their toes as they try to slice up as many of the limbs as their ammo will allow. The spacewalks are still nerve-wracking, the sound and ambiance are still chilling, and this game simply did not get enough love come award season. For the premier sci-fi horror experience, Go grab Dead Space Remake. Next game. We lied again. It's actually 12 games we're featuring.
I regret nothing except this part.
These 2 games managed to shine amongst juggernauts in 2023, and it would have been criminal not to mention them. Sea of Stars is the turn-based RPG adventure from Team Sabotage of Devolver Digital fame, and they said, what if we just make our own Chrono Trigger? And so they did. A beautiful, vibrant art design, a classic position and turn-based battle system, and a story that will absolutely make you fall in love with the characters. Play this game. Octopath Traveler 2 is the masterpiece released by Square Enix that is quite possibly the best turn-based RPG ever produced by mankind. A gorgeous, sprawling tale about 8 separate protagonists coming together to save the world from darkness. As it turns out, we made a video all about it, and if you want to learn all the finer details, the link's in the description. I think we've said more than enough. Next game! Capcom continues its streak of remakes by giving us the best game they have ever produced as a company. Resident Evil 4 is easily the most lauded and acclaimed title that the Resident Evil series has, and this remake quite possibly improves on a game that was already a masterpiece. You throw in their Mercenaries mode and a $10 campaign expansion with separate ways, and it is easily some of the best value in all of gaming. We just so happen to make a video all about the true terror of Resident Evil 4, and that link will also be in the description in case any of you want to know what makes this game sparkle. Just mind the 50-minute runtime. Next game.
I know about the bomb ticking in your head. If I could disarm it now, I would in a heartbeat. You'll feel better. And
Cyberpunk 2077 is the massive open-world RPG game from CD Projekt Red that is known for the notoriously bad launch back in 2020. Phantom Liberty is 3 years of hard, painstaking work by the devs to bring the game back to life, and with the release of their 2.0 patch, these mad lads actually pulled it off. The main game and its campaign remain largely unchanged, but plays far better than it did back in 2020. However, when you walk into Dogtown for the first time, you soon realize the devs have finally taken all the elements of Cyberpunk and perfected the gameplay that this game was always meant to have. With the new rework perk system, the very much improved and balanced weapons, and the amazing side quests that synergize far more with the new campaign, Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty would have easily been in contention for Game of the Year. Instead, it had to settle for the best ongoing game at the Game Awards. Go jump into Phantom Liberty as soon as possible. Next game. Super Mario Wonder is the next platforming masterpiece from Nintendo. The game is simply another example of the complete mastery that these devs have over the platforming genre. Beautiful, sharp controls, 4-player co-op, excellent level design, and all the bells and whistles you'd expect from a Mario game. For a closer look, check out our Mario vs. Sonic video where we break down why this game is so good. Link in the description. Next game. Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom was one of the most anticipated games of 2023. The sequel to the 2017 Breath of the Wild, the devs at Nintendo managed to take the same land of Hyrule and dynamically transform the space. They filled the sky with more islands and dragons. They added the depth below with a new danger that steals the use of your hearts. Most things you can do in Breath of the Wild were kept and stacked with the new additional powers and abilities, all fitting snugly into a 16-bit cartridge. A small miracle for the Nintendo Switch. And none of this you'll see in the footage because we don't have any. We did play this game for over 100 hours and loved it. However, we did not record it as we had not formed our channel just then. Just take our word for it. Hundreds of hours of amazing Zelda goodness and a slightly busted weapon durability system. We hate it. Next game. Any excuse to play the 90s Spider-Man theme song is a good one. Spider-Man II needs no introduction at this point. It's got 2 Spider-Men, 1 Venom, 2 new boroughs to explore, and 7 nominations at the Game Awards. It did not win a single award. Check out our Spider-Man 2 video where we tell you why that's okay. Link in the description. Next game. Baldurs Gate 3 is the RPG that rocked the video game industry from Larian Studios. If you love extremely detailed character creators, extremely hot and feisty companions, and the most unforgiving dice rolls you'll ever see, then this game is the game for you. We were only able to play it for about 5 hours, and we saw mind flayers, dragons, goblins, a handsome devil offering some unsavory deals, and some soul-crushing rolls that would bring tears to your eyes. Definitely not enough time to give it a proper review, but we can say it was fun as hell. The world has already declared Baldurs Gate 3 Game of the Year. We suggest you take their word for it. We got a better candidate in mind. Finally, our top game of 2023. Alan Wake 2 is a psychological and survival horror game released by Remedy, and it is the long-awaited sequel to the 2010 hit Alan Wake. The story is about the titular character, an emotionally struggling and successful writer Alan Wake, fighting against the dark presence of Cauldron Lake in the fictional Bright Falls, Washington, as it tries to bring his horror story to life. The team at Remedy expanded the world of the original Alan Wake to include their other 2019 Game of the Year contender, Control, and what resulted is one of the most surreal, immersive, and amazing games ever seen on the genre. The game borrows elements from many sources, like Resident Evil 4 and their own game Control, and many horror stories to create something very original, very immersive, and absolutely brilliant in execution. The way Alan Wake 2 uses presentation, live action footage, weird and sometimes hilarious in-world elements, and in-game mechanics to put the player in the role of either FBI agent Saga Anderson, who is investigating some murders in Bright Falls, and Alan Wake, who continues to struggle to escape the dark place he was trapped in at the end of the first Alan Wake, is simply amazing. Every part of this game is S-tier. The haunting narration by Alan Wake.
Orlandor walked across the rain-slicked tiles of Caldera Street Plaza. The rain didn't seem to touch him. He sensed his steps were being observed, documented into the story. He allowed it. This one time for this one reason.
The goofy and surreal commercials.
Hello and welcome to Coffee World, voted Washington's best coffee-themed amusement park. All of our attractions are family-friendly and available to children of all ages, just like our coffee.
The creepy testimonials.
I'm sure he forced his publisher into it. I was taking photos, just not my photos. And that nod at me.
And the very competent and very tense combat all come together in a way that creates a game that only a studio like Remedy can produce. With a 20-hour runtime, Alan Wake doesn't waste a single moment as it mixes a gripping detective story with an amazing psychological horror to give you something that will stay with you for years to come. There's simply nothing out there in the market like Alan Wake 2, and because of this, we at the Nobodies have voted this game our top game of 2023. Despite Baldur's Gate 3 being just as deserving of Game of the Year, Alan Wake 2 is a very worthy submission and is an absolutely must play. Just take care not to let the darkness get you as you do. This has been our top 12 games of 2023, and we appreciate all of you that made it to the end of this video. Subscribe with us to see more content like this, and for a closer look at some of our top games, the links are in the description. Happy New Year from all of us here at the Nobodies of Gaming. Remember, as you're making your way through the dark forest that is picking the top games of 2023, nobody's watching.